Ladies and gentlemen, we got her. Breaking forensics software has identified former U.S. Capitol Police Officer Cheyenne Ray Kirchhoff, who quit the USCP 6 months after January 6th, has a 94% chance of being the January 5th DC pipe bomber. Remember I talked about this bitch hundreds of times? Now, the real question here is, what's her connection to that whole satanic cult thing, right? And all the UPS tracking numbers, where's this all going, right? Oh, and by the way, welcome to everyone. This is the Digital Renegade Podcast. I figured I'd just do a little bit of less slop content and to do some more interesting stuff, stuff that's just more out there, so to speak. But yeah, I'm back. We're going to talk about a few things because I didn't really want to make slop content anymore. So if I had something I wanted to say it, right? Just get it out there in the open. I'm really disappointed in Dinesh D'Souza, or Delish as they would say. Delish Nutrish, because he's not nearly Nutrish. And the reason I'm ticked off about him is because of how he treated another fellow journalist / documentarian. So if those of you who are unaware or uninformed, we're dealing with, there was this gentleman by the name of Tyler Oliveira. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his content. But basically he goes around to parts like of, Asia, India, France. He went to France at one point. He was going after scammers and whatnot. And he decided to go to India. And he wanted to record, I guess it's the Diwali festival, the Diwali festival, right? And how the other side lived. This happened, right? Let's see. There you go. And no, I don't care about that. There we go. After much consideration, I've decided I will not be releasing a documentary capturing India's poop throwing festival. Yes, they actually slung shit at each other, believe it or not. That actually is a real thing. I have been doxxed and threatened by thousands of Indians over the last 2 weeks. Yeah, the heckler's veto, right? Tens of thousands of Indians who have turned my life into a living hell. My family has been attacked in ways I never could have imagined. Showing up to his poop festival was the worst decision of my life, and I severely underestimated the power of India. And I hope he's lying about this, but there's a legitimate, people are saying right now, even myself included, that this is real. He's literally been harassed off the internet and hecklers vetoed out because of some foreign, third world country. And yeah, it's third world. There's a reason you're a third world. You're not part of the second world, and you're not going to be part of the first world, especially if you play this type of 8-mannerisms here. You don't do that shit. We have freedom of speech in this country. You don't do this shit because, one, it affects everybody's ability to get to put the word out. It affects everybody. Everyone suffers. Let's see if we're streaming right now. Let me see if I can find it. Freedom of speech in this country. Got more people coming in. Got 3 people watching. Comments disabled. Why are comments disabled? What? Get this crap out of here. This comments disabled nonsense. See if we can figure this crap out. Comments disabled. What the hell is that baloney? Sorry about that, chat. We'll get that operational. I did not set that. These things tend to happen, unfortunately. There we go. Save that. Where are the comments? Allow comments. Where are the comments? Comments. Why are we not allowing comments now? Frickin' hey. Comments are disabled in this stream. Why? Frackin' hell. Oh, why even do YouTube, right? Why do YouTube when you want to talk about stuff, yet everyone seems to be, censored, so to speak? it's a lot of it's just due to India. It is due to the H-1B visa being of us being robbed of our labor. We have like this. If Americans had the ability to sell their labor, sell their value for what it's worth, not have to compare with a foreign scammy fucking culture that comes over and you don't even know if any of their credentials are actually legit. I mean, there are videos out there right now of people who come into the United States, barely know a lick of English, and they basically just, they're truck drivers. I mean, you had that one guy who was another Indian gentleman who just decided to turn around in the middle of a freaking freeway, killed 3 people, no remorse. Another guy, I guess he was a Sikh because he had an iron band, right? He decided to freaking just ding-a-ling-a-ling right off the fucking road. It's stupid shit like this that gives people a bad reputation. And here's the thing: there are a lot of people out there who've called this stuff out before. And then, when this has all been unfolding with Tyler, right? Who shows up to talk? Who the hell shows up to talk and give everybody a total mask off moment? We'll see that in a second because we're jumping around Tarantinoing this stuff. Give me a second. Why don't I have comments? Why? It's freaking retarded. Let's see. Why are comments? Shit. Learn more. Ridiculous. It's not made for kids. There we go. Get this crap out of here. There we go. Let's hope to God this works, because I am freaking... Okie dokie. Now we're back. We're not made for kids. This is now Adult Swim. Okie dokie. Okay, so where were we? Forgive me, chat, on that. Showing up to this poop festival was the worst decision in my life, and I have severely underestimated the power of India. I am only one man. I cannot defeat the combined power of 1 billion Indians who yearn for my destruction. I cannot continue fighting this war, and I must choose my battles. This one simply isn't worth it. I never meant to offend the Indians, their religion, and their culture. Welcome back. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thank you for being back here. Again, I'm wanting to talk about this stuff because, again, I think this is a clear example of heckler's veto, and Elon Musk's doing nothing about it. Literally, this guy has been doxxed. He has been harassed. He's been, someone hacked his fucking crypto wallet at one point. Insane shit like that. I ask all Indians reading this to please leave my family alone. Thank you. Which, by the way, no. We don't give in to terrorists. Especially third world 8-man terrorists with their 8 mannerisms. Live free or die. Fucking pussy. Absolutely. Krigler. And then who shows up? Delic D'Souza. And this is actually real him. This is really Dinesh D'Souza, of all people. How about commenting on this? How about commenting on this festival? It seems like the future belongs to the poop throwers. And my first thought here is, Dinesh, he just got doxxed. He just got freaking, harassed, stolen from, abused. And you're going to talk about this crap? This is like the equivalent of, I don't know if you remember those basic bitch, conservative, ownage videos, right? Or not conservative videos. Those liberal ownage videos, right? Where you'd have Ben Shapiro talk and, just obviously call out a college student. And, he would be talking about legitimate terrorists, who have killed and will kill again. And instead of, instead of adding to the conversation, they instead say, How are you going to protect innocent Muslims from being targeted with this hateful Israeli propaganda, right? And they just ignore the entire freaking talking points, Man, this is really so funny to watch these Hindu technocrats lose their scam. It is. They're the freaking Tao Empire, dude. They're legitimately like the Tao Empire from 40K. They're fighting for the greater good, the greater GTP. And again, this is such a tone-deaf freaking comment with Dinesh that I'm really wondering, did he get hacked? Or are you legitimate? Because again, Dinesh, say what you will about Vic Warma Shwarma, right? Vic Warma Swami, right? Who I hope he does lose in Ohio. I really hope he does, because no one wants him. After his mask off about a year ago this time, in Christmas no less actually, he decided to say, the reason why Americans are failing is not because of, a bunch of unequal playing field created by a bunch of 40 to 50 years of Marxism, right? No, the reason Americans are failing is because they idealize Corey and Topanga over, let's say, Steve Urkel. I like both of those characters. I like both Family Matters and Boy Meets World. Although I will say this, I prefer Family Matters. That's just me. And everybody and their dog saw this as a mask-off moment. Well, this is Dinesh D'Souza's mask-off moment. So then you have to ask yourself, why isn't... again, I like Dinesh. He was platforming Fuentes. He actually was going out and doing stuff, Yeah, all these people who pretend to be Christians for votes up getting exposed as frauds. Dude, have you seen J.D. Vance? I don't know if you know about this. I was watching a Metatron video the other day. And J.D. Vance basically, he said that he met his wife as atheists, but she's a Hindu and he's a Christian. And I'm like, oh, so you're unevenly yoked. One of the few things that that's literally been preventing me from going out and meeting chicks is I don't want to be married unevenly yoked. I've done a lot to alleviate that issue by being in a conservative region, right? And not hitting on crazy pagan women, even though they are more attractive, unfortunately. And some, at least from my aesthetic, right? Seriously, like the elfin chicks. You'll never get a Christian girl to dress up as Galadriel, unfortunately. Or Erwin. Maybe Legolas, but even then, we don't play that tune. But be that as it may, he's apparently unevenly yoked, and he's raising kids. So it's one thing to date a chick that's unevenly yoked. It's another thing to have kids with them. I mean, she's a Hindu, and he's allegedly a Christian. I think it's just a mask at this point for a lot of these conservatives. And even V is noticing a lot of this crap. Because then what you see a blatant agitprop. I think there was see if I can find it here. Let me just pull this aside for a second. Let me look in here. Give me 1 second. It was from V, because I know V at one point had, he was talking about, here we go. This is it. I'll show you. I just want to show it to you. Just show you the clip and thumbnail. Go subscribe to V if you haven't already. Here we go. And here we go.
My God.
So this is blatant. This is a blatant agitprop. When you have a state inspired by Christian values, a state inspired by atheist values, and by the way, this is a picture of Lenin. Regardless of whether or not you think this is atheist values or not, it's irrelevant. I don't care whether it's atheist values or not. I just care about how it looks. And even then, what was this atheist identity shit, right? There are a lot of people out there wanting us to start shit. I mean, to the point where I'm actually telling people again and again and again, there's a lot of this I think we might see I don't know. I don't know what I would say. I don't know what to say, because there's a lot of just people who are claiming to be a Christian and they do stupid shit, right? But at the same time, you're dealing with these crazy Hindus who are literally, chasing people off the fucking internet. The more I watch the MAGA and conservatives ripping each other apart, the more I laugh at their fall that they didn't have a plan for. Which, by the way, I'll just say this right now about the MAGA conservatives. When you say MAGA conservatives, that doesn't mean anything to me. Unless you're talking about people who are elected like Marjorie Taylor Greene. If she gets out of power, then we might be somewhere within reality, right? But the problem here is that it's not the MAGA conservatives; it's the Ben Shapiro's of the world. It's the Tucker Carlsons, the people who really have no business being nearly as popular as they are, given the fact they're just media pundits, and that's really what they are. They're unelected media pundits. So how do you deal with unelected media pundits besides, basically just being better at the job than they are? But the problem here is you're dealing with conspiracy theories. So it's always going to be more convenient to watch, let's say, the Halloween episode of, let's say, The Simpsons, because those are more entertaining, right? Than it ever will be to tell the real news. So he'll talk about the Rothschilds. He'll talk about the frickin' He'll talk about the freaking World Bank. He'll talk about the USS Liberty. He'll talk about all these horrible things because they're more interesting, right? Tucker will do that, and a lot of people are like, to what end, right? Why are you bringing this stuff up? What is your end goal here? Because all those people who are shilling for Russia, exactly. I mean, like the one thing I saw the other day, and maybe we'll pull it up here in a second, because it was basically Ben Shapiro talking about why he doesn't like Tucker Carlson, and it was doing it with, I think, Megyn Kelly of all fucking people, right? See if I can find it here. See, I'll find it. Chat. Ben Shapiro. There we go. Yeah, apparently this is one of the reasons why he didn't like, there we go. He didn't like the fact that Nick Fuentes, there are many things you could level against Nick Fuentes, but people are really just not helping him at all. They're not steelmanning any of the arguments that are being presented.
So you and I have talked about Nick Fuentes many times over the years in our many appearances together, and that's how I knew about him, because he was saying absolutely terrible.
Look at the body language. He just holds that mic like it's like a beer or something. Like you're holding like a beer. He's holding his mic like a beer. She's holding hers like a freaking wine glass.
Things about you. And I am going to show a video, please forgive me, of one of my first introductions to this guy, Nick Fuentes, and what he was saying about Ben. This is a video of him showing himself playing Grand Theft Auto, right, a video game where you shoot people, and he's pretending that this character in the video is Ben. Let's watch.
Ah! Oh, that's funny.
I've seen this clip before, and I like the part where he literally goes up to the Jewish guy and starts pushing him around. Like, hey Ben, I just want to talk to you. Ben, I didn't. The NPC starts running away, right? And he just starts chasing. Like, Ben, I just want to talk. What are you talking about, Ben? Like, it's legitimately some funny shit. But I will say this: this is what happens when you're a pundit. Say what you will about Faith Goldie. I get to call her a dog because she was a pundit, right? I get to say Nick Fuentes is a fucking Eurasianist cuckold, fake ass Catholic, because he's a pundit. He could say the same thing about me. Now, granted, no one will talk to me, and no one will. And again, this is one of the reasons why I really am pro free speech on these platforms, is because this would not be a problem if we actually had a good algorithm. These people would go into, they would just die in the wave of all everyone else's 2 cents,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that makes me laugh and laugh. That's a funny one. What a chance encounter that was. I think I just saw Ben Shapiro.
And it goes on. It goes on.
I mean, I would hate for people to believe that the Nick Fuentes sort of, my problems with Nick Fuentes are about me, because they really are not. They are about the fact that Nick Fuentes is a truly horrifying person who believes truly horrifying things. And again, there is a reason why Charlie Kirk despised him. There is a reason why every...
Yeah, honestly, with the whole Charlie Kirk thing, Nick Fuentes changed his attitude real fucking quick. There were so many people who were just willing to just be ghoulish with how they just presented the facts of Charlie, whether it be the left basically, coming together and saying, "Oh, I'm glad he's dead." I'm like, there are always people like that. Hell, there are people who are cheering on the death of the hell's his name, Kissinger. There were so many people cheering on Kissinger's death, right? And you can say Kissinger is evil. Okay, fair enough. Well, I could say Charlie Kirk is evil, and then we're equal now, for logically speaking. Except we come from a different moral perspective. I don't like the fact that anyone's cheering, but at the same time, I accept that the fact that's just goes with the territory, right? Instead of showing Grand Theft Auto videos, you should instead show him the clip of where he's like, "I have a lot of friends who are Duking this. I have a lot of friends. I'm a Glantian shill," right? That was more damaging than, "Oh my God, Ben Shapiro's feelings got hurt." Which, by the way, Ben Shapiro, he's been doing this since I was a freaking kid in high school. That's how long ago Ben Shapiro has been in the commentary game.
Mainstream political commentator has been highly critical of him. It's the reason why these are not arguments. This is not a person who's making arguments. He is a Hitler-loving troll, and I say that advisedly. He literally says on his show that he loves Adolf Hitler. Okay, so the reason this has come up in recent weeks is because
I like him too, but at the same time, why do I like him? Because he's the type of guy you love to hate. He's a squirrely looking man who somehow survived World War I and started basically just going after power wherever he could. He was a communist on one day, and then he became a National Socialist the next day. He aided and abetted a lot of stuff.
Because Tucker, your guest last night, decided to have him on last week and to completely gloss him, in my opinion. And you can make up your own opinion as to what you think Tucker was doing during that interview, but I know what it looks like when Tucker Carlson decides to be an aggressive interviewer, when he decides to ask difficult questions of people. Tucker is eminently capable of doing that, and he did it to Ted Cruz quite thoroughly. But he decided for any number of reasons, and I try not to attribute motivations to people, that he was going to treat Fuentes with kid gloves, that he was going to...
No. First off, let me just say this. If the feeling of the room where they came to Ted Cruz, because he went after Ted Cruz way too hard. But then, there are other people who he's like, "What's your favorite Marvel Avenger?" Right? That's where you're at right then and there when it comes to Tucker. Tucker is weaponizing his political clout no different than Ben Shapiro would. And the truth be told is that a lot of these clout-chasing cunts, commentators, whether it be Lauren Chen, Candace Owen, Sargon, Vosh, Hassan, whoever it might be, they're going to be the death of any political movement because they do not actually platform people who matter. I like Ted Cruz because Ted Cruz, he's actually doing things. He's taking office. When are we going to see Superintendent Crowder be a thing? Or, Crowder basically, running for mayor. Or Ben Shapiro running for mayor. Never will happen. Why? Because it's more lucrative for these people to basically just be commentators and then gatekeep other people who have other opinions. So people like Fuentes will be a thing. And it will continue being a thing until we tell these people to stop gatekeeping, or we get an algorithm that actually allows people to not be gate-kept.
Not ask him about any of the things that I've just mentioned, literally any of them, and to essentially normalize Fuentes, act as a sort of gateway drug, or as what I've called Tucker, as an ideological launderer of bad ideas over the last couple of years. And this is not coming from a place of animus for Tucker on a personal level. I've known Tucker for a very long time. Tucker and I, whenever we're in personal situations, we get along great. I think I saw that Tucker talked about how we were at Charlie's memorial in the vice president's box together, and he's correct. I mean, we saw each other, we said hello, we talked, it was very friendly, and all of that. And it's also true that a couple of days after Charlie's murder, he reached out and he called me and he said, "Listen, I know that we're at odds, and we've been at odds for a number of reasons, mainly political. I mean, again, on a personal level, I'd go fishing with Tucker anytime. The real question is, for me, I got into this business because I care about the idea."
No, legitimately, what type of person fishes nowadays? When I first caught my first fish, it was a small one, but I kept it. You know why? Because it was my first fish I ever caught. What type of person fishes? I really do believe that if Tucker Carlson's family was in the CIA, you have to remember Tucker Carlson is a child of CIA parents. So think of all the shenanigans and manipulation and going around and being legalistic with your parents would do, right? That's what you're dealing with Tucker Carlson. Now, Ben Shapiro is a privileged boy. He's a Nepo baby.
Ideas, and I care about the ideals.
Tucker isn't.
And so when you're determining what is conservatism, what should the future of America look like, and where do you draw the lines, those are the questions that I need to answer in my job. For me, my
How much do you get paid for your job? Why do you need to be the one who answers it?
business is really not about friendship. I have lots of friends, people who I love, with whom I disagree on politics and don't believe they should be leaders in the conservative movement, for example. And that, to me, is the real question. In any case, Tucker reached out. He said, we've had a bunch of disagreements, and, what if we could put those aside and align toward the DSA in particular, is what he mentioned. And I said, Tucker, you're totally right. Let's do that. That would be great. In fact,
the TSA?
The DSA, the Democratic Socialists of
Why
America.
the TSA? How did that bring you together?
The Democratic Socialists of America. And the reason
I know.
Yes, and the reason that I'm taking out
TSA
my
only
phone
divides people.
is because, yes, the reason I'm taking out my phone is because I don't just, I like to evidence what I'm saying with, actual evidence. So I texted him, and the text exchange was very nice. I mean, here's what the actual text exchange went like after the call. So I texted him, and I said,
Is he getting a lot of it's just me, or does he have like a lot of peach fuzz on his face now, right? I don't know.
thanks so much for calling. It means the world. It truly does. Should we do a show together talking about the DSA threat, Democratic Socialists of America threat, and orienting in the same direction? Happy to do whatever it takes to bring everyone back together for the fight that matters. And Tucker then wrote back, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm going to spend the next week or two thinking about how to be most effective. The country is clearly on the brink. I reached out repeatedly. After that, nothing happened. And again, I thought it was a good idea at the time.
The country's not on the brink. I'm literally fatter than I ever have been in the last 10 years, okay? People are not starving. If anything, they're detoxing from fucking junk food because of all the SNAP crap. But there's also the angle, which, by the way, I even told people at my work, I want to top off your food, because SNAP is going away, and if they riot, they destroy the food. Guess what? That's another freaking loss. It's going to be very tight, and in fact, you got to defend your freaking, local, grocer. That's what might have to happen, because I'm of the opinion we're going to see no SNAP benefits at all throughout the entire winter until January. It's going to be really bad this winter.
I think I felt differently after I saw what he did with Nick Fuentes, and after he proceeded, in my opinion, to spend the subsequent weeks doing literally nothing to fight the left. I say this with sadness because Tucker used to be, I think, a deeply important part of the conservative push to win. The number of times that Tucker Carlson has mentioned Zoran Mamdani since October 5th on his show is once. And it was in the context of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson talking about the appeal of Zoran Mamdani. Just by way of contrast, not because I'm a perfect representative here, but because you've talked about Zoran Mamdani a lot. A lot of us have. Since October 5th, I did 17 separate shows on Zoran Mamdani, including 4 in the last week before the election. Okay, because when you're orienting against the left, you really should orient against the left.
Okay, so a lot in there. I think, just to be clear, so the breakdown from detente after Charlie was him interviewing Fuentes? Like, was that the next thing that happened that led to the blow-up?
I mean, yes. I mean, okay. I had not spoken a word. There
so it
were
wasn't
things
that he attacked you, like, or you had something?
No, I don't care about people attacking me. And I don't think...
I don't care if they come out attacking me. Yeah, you do, Ben. You do care, because everyone cares. It hurts people's feelings when you get attacked.
Tucker cares about people attacking him. I mean, like, again, we're professionals. We're in a business where people comment on what we say publicly. Again, this is why I think you and I differ on our angle with regard to, for example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that...
Well, she is evil, and she is a leftist. She literally made a doxing site.
Again...
But what
because
like
it is
I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't.
Which I'll just say, I think that there is some truth behind that. I do believe that is the case. And I think the reasoning why is because if you look at the data and the ballistics of the 30-06 round that was used to kill Charlie Kirk, that we are being told that, it got right through his back of his head and it got stopped right in the middle of the skin, right? We're being told that. And the truth be told is the ballistics are inconsistent. 30-06 will penetrate right through a steel plate at 150 yards. It was 140 yards. We're supposed to believe that this round didn't have enough force to just blow Charlie's freaking brain right out or blow his neck clean off. It doesn't make sense. So there's a certain level of I don't trust the official narrative, and I think that's fair. But the real problem is, well, who gets the blame? Who gets the blame? Because I'll tell you this: I don't think Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk were. I think they were a trophy. She was a trophy wife to him. That's what I think. I don't think a guy with that kind of smile and that kind of face could have pulled a thing like that. I really don't think that's the like. We're dealing with people who are the privileged kids of they're rich, okay? They're rich and they either have two choices. You either be a conservative because you have no choice, because economic realities force you to be a conservative, or you were naive, like, I'd say Steven Crowder to a certain degree, and you think the world is a certain way when it comes to Christianity, but it's not. The world is actually quite ugly, and we can do the best we can with what we have, right? I think a lot of these conservative types are naive, and they're sheltered because their parents' victory has defeated them. Ben Shapiro is like this, but unfortunately, I really do see this as rich people fighting each other. And I'm not saying all Republicans are rich or all conservatives are rich. I'm saying it in the sense that these commentators have luxury jobs. Imagine the greatest job you could be, just virtue signal for a living.
Take in that content, which is an honest statement. I don't have time to watch Candace's show.
I believe you. But the point that I'm making is that
what I understand
friendship
Candace
should
to
not,
have
in
been
our
doing.
business, I think it's important. Listen,
Candace
friendship
and I are
should not
friends.
trump.
We don't even know each other.
I understand, but even with Tucker, friendship should not trump our manifest requirement to speak out when people do and say things that are both detrimental to conservatism and morally wrong.
Okay, so I don't totally disagree, but I think the way of handling that, at least for me, is much different. So I saw things go south between you and Tucker, at least from my vantage point, when you disagreed on Israel. That was obvious. And he was, let me just make my point.
Sure.
And so he was saying things that were critical of Israel and our policy towards Israel. And then you did one show where you did what I thought you should have done if you disagreed with him, which clearly you did, which is say what you believe and what you think is factual, and like educate your audience on what you think are the real.
What you think is factual. There's a certain point where denying the orthodox opinion, you're just being a troll. Like, I could very well make the argument that the world was created 10 minutes ago, and everything we know up until this point is all an illusion, and you're not going to be able to beat someone like that. Likewise, I learned just recently about a little KGB operation called Operation SIG. And it's basically where they were trying to weaponize Nazism and anti-Semitism to go after the Israelis and Americans. They were basically pushing the whole, Judo-American Empire nonsense, right? I'm looking deeper into it, but so far from what I've seen, a lot of this timeline matches up. It's going to get to the point where I basically am going to become a Cold War historian just looking into this crap.
Facts and give me evidence for it. But you named him, and it felt like an attack. And that, to me, was the beginning of the end, where he was like, now it's on. Because he felt personally attacked by you, as opposed to just challenging his idea.
don't speak on his behalf, Megan.
I think you named him and you kind of diminished him. And, you know, he's an 800-pound gorilla, and if you mess with a gorilla, he's going to fight. And to me, that's where it started to go south. And because I remember that day being like, oh, shit. Well, I don't want to see this.
But here's the thing. I would urge everybody to go back and listen to the show that you're referring to, where I criticized Tucker's ideas, not Tucker as a person. Tucker then responded by claiming that I do not love America. That is a direct quote. That I do not love America because I was spending too much time covering the October 7th attacks, and then proceeded in January to then say that I wanted his children to...
What was that?
7th attacks, and then proceeded in January...
In January? You gonna cry, shit, Ben?
...to then say that I wanted his children to die in a foreign war. Okay, so those are a different...
That's a rhetorical
No, it is
point.
not. I'm sorry, it's not. It's an attack on motivation.
No, it's emotional blackmail.
Is a very different thing from an attack on an idea.
His point was that you were sounding like a neocon, and he's upset with
What the fuck is a neocon? Could you define that for us, please?
anybody who wants us to get too involved in Israel's conflict because he feels it endangers American children.
Okay, the idea that, number one, the idea that I want the United States to be directly involved in Israel's conflict is not true.
No, I know that, Ben.
I've been urging Israel to get off of American aid for literally as long as I have been active in politics.
But I'm making clear what his point was.
But my point is that that's not his point. And again, none of this.
So we disagree.
We disagree on the interpretation of what Tucker has been doing for
Correct.
the past 2 years, and
Yes.
it's very difficult for me to believe that Tucker is merely anti-Israel when, for example, today in his newsletter, I mean, I can directly quote it if you'd like. In his newsletter today, he claimed that Zoran Mamdani is not anti-Semitic. This was his newsletter today, this morning. I mean, I'm happy to read the text. It's a little extraordinary because again, it is kind of shocking.
Zoran Mamdani, honestly, is whatever he wants it to be, or Zoltan, I should say. Good old Zoltan, or Zoltar, I should say. I don't know. It's an alien name. It's an alien name from an alien land. It's like a Flash Gordon villain.
Shocking stuff. So here's what Tucker Carlson wrote in his newsletter today, or what his newsletter says, under his name. He said, "Is the incoming mayor a fan of Israel? Does he want America to fight its wars? Not particularly. But a Jew hater? That's a different conversation. We've never seen anything to suggest he falls into that ugly camp. If we're talking about fighting the left, defending Zoran Mamdani, who literally said that he has no opinion whether Hamas should disarm, who posed alongside the 1993 World Trade Center unindicted co-conspirator, who would not disown globalize the Intifada, who suggested that whenever there is a New York Police Department boot on somebody's neck, it's an IDF lacing the strings, to suggest that that's not anti-Semitic in any way? No way.
Okay, but listen.
Or
I'm going to give you a defense of Tucker here, and I don't need to defend Tucker because I'm not Tucker.
Why are you defending Tucker then?
But I'll just say, I think in general, because I know him and I listen to him and I understand generally where he's coming from. He would say his problems are with Israel, and he would say that shot.
Yeah, but the problem here is Israel is not a. There's the people, and then there's the place, right? The state, right? And I have a lot of issues with what the state has done as well, but I've also have the issues with what other states have done, right? The issue here is when you start naming names, and they don't name names. All they do is say the Jews, the Israelis, and this is on both sides, by the way. Mark Dice, for example, he's committed this horrible fallacy. Let's see if I can find it here. Because Mark Dice is such a fun. Even my mom watches Mark Dice. Let's see if I can find it here. Not diversity fatigue. Where is it? Here we go. I think we got it. It's the same chick that Ben Shapiro loves. Ben of Shapiro of the Planet Navarro. Here we go. Ben Shapiro of the Planet Navarro. There we go.
About what a whack job.
Because if we stay silent in the face of what is coming, not only on the left, but on our own side as well, our time in this
Back it
country
up
could
a
come to an end as
Which of the big brand name conservatives, and even those who portray themselves as being independent, Benny Johnson, haven't weighed in or defended Tucker Carlson against these terrible slanderous attacks by these Jewish extremists? And here is Congressman Randy Fine, in case you missed my previous video yesterday, so you know who it is that she's talking about. What a whack job.
Because if we stay silent in the face of what is coming, not only on the left, but on our own side as well, our time in this country could come to an end as well.
You may be wondering, and the answer is yes, he is insinuating that Jews might get kicked out of America if they don't stop people from criticizing Israel.
Jews have been kicked out of every country we've ever lived, and it's never been our own fault. And there are people who would like to do the same to us here, and unfortunately, some of them are in our own party.
Bad fucking defense. How will you respond, Marky Mark?
I got kicked out of over 100 bars all across the country, all around the world, but it was never my fault.
Fuck you. Bad fucking fumble. You both fumbled. You fucking fail, both of you. He should never fucking say that it's always it's never their fault. Some of the times it is the fault of a few, and sometimes it's a fault of many. But it all starts with individuals. You could point to some of these individuals. One example, they'd often use Jews for spy work back in the day. Like, you ever seen that movie History of the World Part 1? You know, the one where they get the doppelganger who's a Jew, right? To stand in for King Louis. That shit's kind of real. They'd actually have instances where people who, again, have the reason to go to different kingdoms, right? Because they're doing money changing. They could do spy operations. Same thing with bards. So, you know, if they get kicked out, why are they getting kicked out? What was the inciting incident? Was it because one person who can go from one network to another network screwed the pooch for the people who were in that other network? So the French get kicked out because the British, let's say, used a Jew to spy on the French, and then the French kick out the Jews. That's what happened. And in some cases it isn't their fault, but again, when you defend the collective, who's they? Because I'll tell you, they're just like how you have, you know, Africans sell other Africans into slavery to the white man. Same fucking thing can happen with the Jews. I guarantee you. But Mark, in his infinite fucking wisdom, somehow takes the collective and then makes it personal. He makes the political personal, which you're never supposed to fucking do. And that just goes to show you how just insane and extreme fucking politics are nowadays. I mean, I can't even go online on my YouTube, on my feed without getting bombarded by this H-1B shit, right? And I'm against the H-1B. I'm very much against it. I think it needs to be destroyed, to be honest. And we're seeing a lot of this stuff just come. It's going to get bad news bears here, and I would keep telling people, go stock up on food. Go get yourself some canned food. You don't have to spend it all at one day, but go get some food. And, you know, get ready for, you know, whatever the hell happens, because things are going to get interesting. So besides that, I actually started to learn more and more about networking and home labbing. I'm learning a hell of a lot more nowadays than I ever did, and I'm building and upgrading my equipment. I've recently decided to make the transition away from the iPhone, specifically because I'm frightened of the IDs, the digital ID crap, because I know that Apple will definitely, if Apple pushes digital ID, we're screwed. So I have to go find, get some security through diversity, right? So you have to have a little bit of country, a little bit of rock and roll, a little bit of Linux, a little bit of Windows, a little bit of Mac, right? I'm learning Omarchi. Yeah, for those of you who don't know what Omarchi is, let me get that up for you. This little guy right here. Now, I watched this guy, this David Heinermann Hansen, I believe. Heinermann Hansen. He's a Danish gentleman. I like his. If you ever get a chance, you should watch some of his interviews. He is like legitimately. He's a Kyle. If that makes any sense. You talk about the guy who is just like a party kit guy, he comes off that way. Like, imagine you give him a trucker hat with a Monster energy drink. That's what you're talking about. Despite the fact that he has he sounds like Spoonie in a lot of ways. Like, he has similar mannerisms as this gentleman. But he basically created a version of Linux that was basically an Arch clone, or like a flavor of Arch, so to speak. And it's very good. It's very good. So let's see if we can find what we're dealing with.
The year is 2025, and when it's all said and done, we might finally be able to call it the year of the Linux desktop. Because if you're a developer, especially a smart, lazy developer, there's a new Linux distro in town designed just for you. A distro that'll finally let you tell your next Tinder date. I use Arch, by the way. It's called Omarchy, and it takes the unopinionated Arch and injects the superior opinions of legendary developer David Hannemeyer Hansen, DHH, a developer who's richer, better looking, and more talented than us. If you don't know who he is, he's most famous for developing the Ruby on Rails framework.
Which, by the way, fun fact, one of the many things that I got persecuted for and left out of was getting access to Ruby on Rails. There were so many females being told, oh, you can go in and learn Ruby on Rails, but if you're a man, you can't have access to this particular course. And it was being offered as charity, too, so they literally discriminated. But I'll take a look into Ruby on Rails as well, because I really am getting into the network stuff. I really think that we're going to have... I'm not going cyberpunk, but I'm definitely going cyber. We're going full cyber here.
As a former Ruby developer myself, this community religiously adheres to the MacBook Pro as the one true development machine. But Macs are expensive and riddled with proprietary software. What if there is a better free and open source way to use a computer? I just threw out my MacBook, and in today's video, we'll find out if Omarchy is the ultimate operating system for people who code. It is September 24th, 2025, and you're watching the... To install it, all you have to do is download the ISO file to a USB stick, flash it with Balena Etcher, then install it to a hard drive on your PC.
Yep, doing that now, and I will be making videos specifically on that, because again, don't want to make slop content, but at the same time, I think I'm going to have to make something that's more useful. Like, I'm going to make videos specifically with regards to trying to make a home lab, because I've been teaching a lot of the trad cats also how to build home labs, so that way they can have their own network and whatnot. And the ultimate goal is to build the infrastructure, get shit like Starlink and a bunch of other different ISPs all together in one, and then you basically never get offline. I mean, I think it was Jim81Jim or Medicare at one point who has like 2 internet providers because he knows he's going to get DDoS and he has to have like multiple ISPs. I don't know. Any case, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I got off my chest, if that makes any sense. Anyhow, be good to one there. Take care of one there. Remember, saving the West is a side quest. Digital Renegade.